So this is FOURQ. 4 questions.
It's the fork that counts.
I've never been interrupted before.
Oh, sorry, you better do your thing.
We're on a tight ship. With me, Tony Vino, and I'm with the comedian that has the closest name to me, Tim Vine.
That's right.
Do you ever find that difficult? Because people come to see your show and they think it's me.
Isn't it? It's that.
Yeah.
There's no one else who's well, Tim Vincent, but he's not on the circuit, is he? He used to do Peter.
No.
Can I tell you, by the way, because I told you this the other day, just for a laugh, I learnt the names of 100 writers who are on postcards. But one of them, I used your name to help me remember. Now,
really?
Yeah.
It's rock and roll lifestyle, Tim.
Wait a minute, it's here somewhere. I'll find this. Wait a minute. Because what it is I use sort of just silly kind of memory things to try and remember. Have you got an editing process, by the way?
Not at all, no.
Oh, right, okay.
Tim has got 120 cards.
100?
100 cards of authors. He's memorised everyone, and it's absolutely true. Actually, I'm going to pick one out, and then you can just tell me who the author is, right? So,
that's Anthony Burgess. That's a tough
it's Anthony
one.
Burgess.
That's a tough one.
Right.
Ryonosuke Akutagawa. I think that's right.
Spot on. Right.
They're tough, those Japanese ones.
We're thinking this is Tim's next year's Edinburgh show.
Yeah, it'd be rather short.
So we're here in Edinburgh, and Tim's doing his show. Tim Timony Tim Tim to you.
Tim Timony Tim Timony Tim Tim to you.
Right, yeah.
You missed a Tim Tim.
I do apologise about that. Do you ever abbreviate?
Yasunari Kawabata. Where's the one I was thinking of? It's for me the last one I look at, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
Right,
TT to TT, as I like to call it. So
there we are, that one there. Now his name is Italo Calvino, and I remember it as in Italo Calvino, as in Cool Tony Vino.
Italo.
Calvino. So I think of it as that one. Italo Calvino.
He's a very shy man. Always gets his picture taken.
Well, half
behind a doggy.
Yeah.
He looks cheeky.
Yeah, right, sorry about that. Right,
that's all right.
And you may wonder why I'm dressed like this as well. I'm wearing the whole sort of space shuttle astronaut thing, which is great. Look at that space shuttle there. And it's got,
this is real.
It's brilliant.
This is real.
It's, do you know how when kids are like 4 or 5 years old and they go to the shops dressed as an astronaut with their mum and dad?
Yeah, and it's perfectly acceptable.
It's normal, isn't it?
Yeah.
You go shopping as an adult dressed as an astronaut. Suddenly you're a fruitcake, and I'm against that system. Right.
We're
on, Tony.
A new movement. Good work, Tim.
Yeah.
How are you finding Edinburgh, Tim?
There's a joke that's on about how you're finding it. It's great fun. Yeah, I've done eight shows. Tim to you 8 times. And what I've realised is actually when I started, I was quite nervous about remembering it, and so I had quite a blank face because my face was constantly going, "What's the next joke? What's the next joke?" But as I got a bit further into it, I'm able to do a bit more of that.
Yeah. And interaction. Love it. Well, I went to see it the other day. It was very good, very fun.
Yeah, I spotted you in the front row.
Yeah.
That threw me.
Yeah.
Italo Calvino.
Hey, call me, huh?
Calvino.
They put me there. The guy, there was just one seat at the front.
You arrived late, didn't you?
I was at the back of the queue.
Right.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. And there was one seat, and I was like.
Only at my gigs, if you're at the back of the queue, they stick you at the front. It says something, doesn't it? That shows how keen everyone is to get to the front. They went from the back forwards.
So this is four questions.
Yes.
The 4 classic questions, as they'll go down history. And the first one, Tim, is what is your favourite memory of comedy?
Well, I mean, do you know, I was thinking about this, and I think that some of the best memories, when you start doing this job, it's a bit of an adventure, isn't it?
It's great, yeah.
Because there's something magical about finding something new and you're learning about it. I mean, we're all still learning, sure, it was fun anyway, but so I do remember a time I did a gig up the creek. I'd probably been going for 2 or 3 years or something. Yeah. Did a gig up the creek, it went really, really well, and I was driving home and I stopped at a pizza place. It was a pizza delivery place or something.
But you could also go in as well.
I think so, yeah. I ordered a pizza. It was a hot summer's night. I wanted a big 10-inch pizza, and I opened my car door and I sort of sat, with my feet out the car, eating this pizza. And I thought to myself, I've never been happier. I just thought it was I just remember that thing
beautiful.
Of just really loving the fact that I'd done this gig.
Yeah.
I think it was the end of a weekend that I'd done it up the creek, and it had all gone well.
Wow.
And
was it a nice pizza as well? I presume it was.
Pizza was lovely. You know, when you're in your 20s and you eat pizza, there's nothing like it, is there?
Amazing. And my head exploded when they brought out that cheese crust. You know.
Oh yeah. Well, you must be eating it wrong if your head exploded.
yeah.
So that, but also just, I mean, it's there's a lot of laughs backstage and lots of fun, isn't there?
Yeah.
So.
And do you not? Because obviously, like as you've grown in your career, then do you find? Because obviously you're not doing as many of the just sort of clubs and all that kind of back room kind of bam.
No, but I do like doing all that still. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Well, I was more saying, like, are you missing that kind of?
Well, what I do miss about that is that when you're on the circuit and you're doing 4 or 5 gigs a week, you are meeting each time you do a gig.
Yeah.
There's you and 4 other comics, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's 3 acts and a compere generally.
Yeah.
So what's that if you times that by 6? So let's suppose that change all the time. So it's 4, 6. Maybe you're meeting 20, upwards of 20 different people.
Yeah.
Or around the 200 maybe that exist.
Totally, yeah.
Different 20 each week.
Each week, it's a lot, isn't it?
It's a lot, and it's a really sociable thing, and it's also a very it's a great leveler, isn't it, when you do it, because you're all on the same money in the clubs, and you facing the same audience together. What were they like?
Totally.
So you're all in the same gang.
Yeah.
So I missed that a bit. When you go on tour, there's I don't thoroughly enjoy the company of John Archer, who I mainly tour with, but it's mainly me and John, and then a guy called Andrew Jobbins, who's a tour manager. So it's the 3 of us.
Yeah.
Which is great, but you're not meeting as many different people. So once in a while, when I'm trying out stuff and I go back to those kind of clubs again, you realise that it was a really happy time, that thing of doing lots of it's just so sociable, isn't it? Totally.
And like you say, yeah, because it's almost like it's the great level of that you're all in it together and you've got a common purpose. Whereas like on tour, you've got 2 or 3, and then you've got all the audience. You might meet them, but it's hard to kind of know, get a real connection.
I remember Ricky Grover saying, the comic Ricky Grover.
Yeah.
He said, because he used to box.
Yeah.
And he said he felt stand-up was quite similar to boxing, actually.
Depends which clubs you do, yeah.
You're in a dressing room beforehand, and you don't want to make a fool of yourself. And so there's a similarity.
Yeah. You almost kind of go out and there's a bit of a fight to it. You got to. There's a moment like a dramatic moment. Everything goes to that point, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's mind you, it doesn't say about how social it is. I don't suppose you're having a great laugh with the guy you're about to try and knock out beforehand.
Yeah, conversation is somewhat limited. And just checking this is on. Still going great.
It's still on, right?
Still on. So next,
Well, you think if the conversation isn't of a level of thrill,
it
switches itself off.
It just gives up.
You're just worried about that. Yeah. I'd be worried about that as well. The astronaut's not doing his best at the moment. Got bare feet as well, look.
Which is very authentic.
That's a slightly more Guantanamo Bay now when I show the old bare feet.
That'd be a nice motif for you just at the end, just tied up. Yeah. So question. So you've had the best moment.
Yeah. Okay. Go on. What's the next question?
There with the pizza, having a lovely time, dressed as
which is kind of, to me, it's even to say that was the best moment. I just mean that kind of epitomises the joy that being on the circuit involved when you started off and everything.
Yeah. So your worst moment or time that you can remember from comedy?
Well, it's hard really, because I mean, it's hard to look beyond just sort of individual deaths maybe on stage, People are very lucky in terms of they do, don't they? Yeah.
More than like, it went well.
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah.
So I had a terrible one last night. So tell us about it.
Yeah. Because I mean, just in terms of the job as a whole, to me, I'm just very grateful that I've been able to still be doing this job after this length of time. So
how long is that, by the way?
Over 20 years, I suppose now.
Yeah. Good work.
You've seen the act; it feels like it. So I remember doing one. In fact, it was just after I started doing it as a job.
Yeah.
I supported Boothby Graffo on it was a tour of universities.
Yeah.
And so I was on first, and my act is, I'm first in front of students my act can be a bit like starting a car in fourth, unless I think it helps if someone's gone before me.
Yeah.
Just to get the audience a bit revved up, so I can go on and use some of the energy someone else has earned. Rather than try and build it up myself.
What's all that about?
Cheating, really. Anyhow, so I was on first. It was at Woolwich University, and it's the only time I can remember actually genuinely being unable to continue doing it after 3 minutes. You know, I mean, it was so quick. They didn't like me, and it was sort of booing. And normally when
as well.
I think it was that I remember. Yeah, normally when I remember gigs going badly, I normally dig in.
Yeah. Kind of like, right, do it, bring out the bankers and go, right, I'm going to...
Oh no, I carry on dying, but I just dig in. I get a bit belligerent about it and say, you know, right, I'm staying here.
Yes.
But this one, I do remember going off and, you know, and it was sort of... And the other thing was that Jerry Dammers, who played the keyboard for the specials, he was there. And I'd met him backstage because I think he was going out with this girl who was doing an open spot on the same gig or something, is my memory of it anyway. But anyway, he was there, so I was quite thrilled about seeing Jerry Dammers. But I went on stage completely done. I'm sure he thought, well, this guy thinks. So I obviously had no credibility in front of this guy who was in one of my favourite bands when I was younger.
Yeah.
So the whole thing was... But I'll tell you one thing I remember from that, because I said to Booth Graffo afterwards, I was quite sort of upset about it and just kind of going, oh, you know, I don't know whether I should be doing this job or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And Boothby, you know, he was very cool. He was there with the cigarettes before the smoking ban. And he just, you know, rather than sticking his arm round me and saying, "Oh, you know, listen, don't worry about it. You're great," or anything like that, you know, he just took a drag on his cigarette and sort of just went like that and just shrugged. And I thought that it's an interesting sort of that is the response to dying. That's what the response to dying should be. If you're the sort of person who takes it too much to heart, then it's probably not the job for you, because you know, you have to try to a degree to let it wash over you. And of course it's not pleasant and you don't like it, but the following day you've got to get up again and do it, because it's not really personal actually. No. It's just the energy in the room, something went wrong, you cocked up a few things at the top and you know.
And it's as if like you say you've got like you serve up food, you serve up a plate, and on some nights they go, I don't want that. I just don't want it. The thing that you serve. That's
as much as possible, you want to serve up something that's got some food for everyone.
Like a platter.
Exactly. There should always be the odd sausage roll and then something for the vegetarians.
But that'll be quite comforting for saying new acts, you know, because you would say you got to a point where you know. There you were like going, Frank. If you'd have taken
that was very early on.
Yeah,
because I was doing these. I had to do 30 gigs in, you know, the network tour as it was, the kind of doing all these university gigs. Yeah. And I had 30 gigs that were quite close together, and I'm going on first each night. Yeah. Not really doing great. And also, of course, the sort of thing I was doing and still do now is all these silly puns and things. I don't think that the student audiences, you know, particularly in the 90s, there was less of that sort of thing around, but now there's more of everyone being silly, and that's great. But I think that when, you know, a lot of these students, they're away from home for the first time. Yeah. Actually, what they want is a bloke to come out and do jokes about marijuana and stuff to make them feel a bit edgy. They don't really want someone doing jokes their dad would.
Totally.
You know.
And also students, like, you know, particularly freshers, they can be a little bit self-conscious themselves, and there's a level to which, like with Europe, people have got to buy into it. You know, they've got to kind of go, right, let's get on board and go for it, and really, and it becomes.
Yeah, well, I used to find that going on first, because it's such short jokes, I'd go on and I'd do a joke and I'd do another joke and do it, and there'd be sometimes there'd be an atmosphere in the audience that was sort of, sorry, do you want us to laugh at all of these? We're supposed to be laughing after each of these. And that is, you know, and when you know that's happening in a room, you know your stuff.
Where they're like, look, come on.
You know you're absolutely stuffed. Wyndham Lewis. Arthur Miller. Malcolm Lowry. Oh, that's a hard one. Joseph Brodsky. That one is...
Let's have a look. Let's have a look.
I'm
not sure. You can't see the thing. You can't see the thing.
Arcane Arayan.
Arcane Arayan. Ladies and gentlemen, just another 95
Casey. Philip K. Dick. There's nothing written on the back that I can read, by the way. Look, Tennessee Williams, Georges Louis Bourges, Kurt Vonnegut, Georges Simenon, Marguerite Yourcenar, Robert Musil, Muriel Spark. Henri Alain Fournier.
Yeah.
Mikhail Bulgakov. Right, anyway, what's the next question?
Literally, that is an Edinburgh show next year.
Trust me, it's not, Tony. It really is not. It's something to do when you're in your flat wondering what to do with the day.
And there's not someone doing a podcast around it.
Yeah. That's something I thought the other day. Here we are, right, we're in Edinburgh.
We are.
It's the biggest arts festival in the whole world. And I thought to myself yesterday, I'm in the biggest art festival in the world, and I'm lying on the sofa watching Little House on the Prairie. And I was loving it.
It's great though, isn't it?
And Little House on the Prairie, and also it got to the point where it got to the end, it said this episode's continuing tomorrow, and I thought, right, what time's that?
What?
I've had 3,000 shows out there, and I'm watching Little House on the Prairie.
Well, I think
absolutely ridiculous.
There is something comforting.
Stephens V. Yep.
There's something comforting about you almost feel more cultured if you know there's a lot of cultural stuff going on around you.
John Updike.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So, that's right. Motivation for comedy. What is that thing that gets you? I would say gets you up in the morning, but
right. Do you mean
what's it for comedy? What is it that kind of, makes you do this job other than another job?
Well, sometimes motivation can be a very. Listen, we've all got to have a job.
We do.
Right. So, my dad used to walk. He's retired now, but he used to walk to work 2 miles there, 2 miles back, and I was talking to my brother the other day. We saw if you've got, as most of us have, a parent or parents who works.
Yeah. And
you saw that.
Yeah.
You realise we've all got to work.
That's it.
Right. You've got to do something.
That's it.
So if there comes a point, as there does in any job at all, where you think, and we've all had this. I'm sure I've had this thought at some point. I think, am I going to do anything else? Is this what I'm going to do? I think, what else am I going to do? So this is my job. That's the first thing, right? This is my job. So then the motivation could be something simple, like, I get persuaded by my promoter that you ought to do another tour or something. So they start putting some dates in.
Oof, right, so a deadline almost kind of...
That's the absolute motivation, because you start looking, hence, does that mean forward?
Henceforth, yes.
You look forward anyway. And you see, like in 10 months' time, he's stuck 50 dates in the diary.
Oh, flipping heck.
And you're going to be stood in front of several hundred people at a time. Then in that situation, that is motivation.
That is motivation.
That's motivation. In a bigger sense, the motivation is I want to make people laugh. Is that a bigger thing or is that a smaller thing? I don't know.
So that's definitely a jet.
It gives me. I get something out of myself. Like as a selfish motivation, I get something out of that.
Yeah. So you think?
But equally, I quite like that. If the whole thing imploded and suddenly it was, no one came to see me anymore, or maybe just a handful of people, I would still get joy out of writing shows and doing them, and do it slightly as a hobby, maybe. I still enjoy that,
Because it's almost like the way, I don't know if it's always been like this, but it's the way you're wired now. You love kind of, working with words and ideas and...
Yukio Mishima. Yes.
So imagine, even if you...
Eileen Chang.
Let's just verify. Yes, with a double E.
Patrick Kavanagh. Evelyn Waugh. Carson McCullers. Raymond Chandler. D.H. Lawrence.
I'll just make it a couple of
Herman Hesse. Right, come on, carry on. Sorry.
So yeah, if you worked in an office or something like that, you'd still be the person that. So it's almost like there's something.
When I worked in an office, I did mess about a lot.
Yeah, and there was a pleasure that you drew from making others and getting.
I think it's a sociable thing as well, isn't it? There's something, but that I think is a very human thing for everyone, isn't it? If you go out, if you decide to go out with friends, you don't say to yourselves, "Do you think we should Do you think we should laugh tonight? You don't all sit around and go, should we laugh tonight? That'd be good fun, wouldn't it? Because that makes you feel good. That's a natural thing that you all gravitate towards. If you go out with mates and you go out for a drink or something, and you want to have a good time, that involves laughing.
It brings you all together. It is something. It is a thing that's.
I can see that.
So Jean-Paul Sartre. Yeah.
So last question. Then that's
a lot of these to get to. That's the last question. John Kennedy Toole, John Wyndham, Eugene Ionesco, Giorgio Bassani, Truman Capote, James Joyce, Roald Dahl.
It is as well.
Ryside Kapuscinski, Malcolm X, Jack Kerouac, Albert Camus, James Baldwin, Kingsley Amis. Nothing on the back. Stella Gibbons, George Orwell, Andy Warhol, Paul Bowles, H.P. Lovecraft, Italo's favourite. Go on, what's the last question?
So, motivation for life then. That's your motivation.
Motivation for life?
Yeah. Do you want to be an astronaut?
What do you mean? Can you just ask that question another way, motivation for life?
No, good question. You've asked me, you've got one back. So, that thing that you would say is your overriding narrative. So, you know, that thing that, whether you did comedy or not, what is it?
No narrative, just unconnected jokes. For an hour.
What's your own personal one-liner? No, as in, what's that thing that you would say, you know, that kind of gets
but that
you
probably
excited?
that probably splits into groups as well, doesn't it? Because
it
you have your kind of selfish motivation for life, and then when you're feeling sort of a bit more looking at a bigger picture, you might have a bit more altruistic about, like you say, like I might sort of, you know, selfishly speaking, you know, I want to have fun and excitement, and also peace. You know, peace is a good one, isn't it?
You want peace?
Well, who doesn't want peace?
Yeah.
You know, I'm quite good at peace, actually. I like the, but I am aware if I start getting a bit stressed about something, I think to myself, you know, I don't say yes to everything I get asked to do, John, because I do like, as I often say to people, sitting in a chair in a back garden with a ham sandwich, looking at the sprinkler.
It's another pizza moment.
It is. Yeah, it's always food actually. It's always ham based.
With wheat.
Pepperoni. Yeah, there's always some wheat there. Yeah. You know, and I've got things like this. You see, interest me because it's something aside from. It's something that's Jean Rees. It's something aside from the norm. Give me something to do. Flora Thompson, Robertson Davis, Primo Levi, T.E. Lawrence. Come on! Who are you?
Who are you?
Damon Runyon.
Does it? Let's have a look. Yes, it is. But does it?
William S. Burroughs, John Steinbeck, H.G. Wells. I'm going to get to the end of these. Joseph Conrad, Ryan Asuke Katagawa. We've done those ones, haven't we?
Yeah, we did those.
We did those ones. Yeah, we did those ones, didn't I?
Yeah, we did them.
We are going to get to the end of this, you know, don't you? F. Scott Fitzgerald, Ian Fleming, Dorothy Parker, Saul Bellow, Saki, Alexandra Solzhenitsyn. This woman's got two names here. Her name is Karen Blixen, open brackets, Isaac Dinnerson. Vladimir Nabokov, Dorothy Parker, Sigmund Freud, Donald Barthelme. Okay, that one is.
A Man in a Hat.
Yeah, it's Fernando Pessoa.
Yes, it is as well.
Hunter S. Thompson.
Anne
Nin.
You can see I'm getting on board with this now.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't look at the picture again, that one. Oh yeah, that's Allen Ginsberg. Franz Kafka.
Oh, I like Kafka. The Metamorphosis.
Hans Fallada. Catherine Mansfield. Angela Carter. Czeslaw Milos.
Czeslaw Milos, yeah.
This is a good one. Federico Garcia Lorca.
I love Lorca. He's
that one I've already done. I mean, that one I haven't done yet. That's Cahill Gibran.
Oh, Khalil Gibran, did The Prophet. He looks really young there, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, that's photography for you. It's his time. Sam Selvon, Rudyard Kipling, Henry James, we're nearly there. Flann O'Brien, Marcel Proust, James Joyce, E.M. Forster. That one, I always start on this one. Isaac Bashevi Singer. Ralph Ellison. Francois Sagan. Norman Mailer.
When you said nearly
Eudora Welty. Frank O'Connor. Robert Graves. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry.
Yes.
Ayn Rand. And finally, Carlo Levi. So what was the final question again?
Can I go now?
Yeah, so I think that the motivation is that you want to have fun yourself.
Yeah.
But then you look at a bigger motivation and you think, well, I'd like my family, my mum and dad to be happy, you know, and I want my nieces and my nephew to like me and think Uncle Tim's cool or whatever, you know.
Uncle Tim is cool.
Well, you never know.
You know.
You know, that will wear off.
Yeah.
You know, currently they come and see me when I do panto and they think this is hilarious. You know,
yeah.
Uncle Tim's helping Snow White, but you know, there will come a time when they're a teenager. Do we have to go see Uncle Tim in pantomime?
I've got one for you.
But you know, laughter generally is a good thing, isn't it? We were talking about this before we started all this nonsense.
It is. It is inherently a good thing. People want to sort of add things to it. Are you doing a message behind what you're saying, or is the how you? But actually, life's tough for a lot of people, and actually to just have a laugh together and that whole being, you know, the sociability of laughter and the bonding is inherently a good thing.
I think it is, which means that we're fortunate to be attempting to make it happen.
Yeah. And unfortunate
Yes.
when it doesn't.
If you're still there. Sorry about the author thing. He made me do it now.
Yeah, but this is about the 7th recording.
Because I've been reading this. Improve your memory. I nearly forgot to show you that.
Tim Vine, thank you so much.
A pleasure, Tony, always. When you say you haven't got an editing process, do you mean you're going to have the bit of you walking now out of the screen?
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a hiatus.